You know that now Baby Africa was born with digital in our DNA.
Thank you. How do you think the landscape, especially digital advertising in Ghana, over the past 5 years has evolved? And what do you think are some of the things that have shaped its growth?
Even if you are looking at digital in general, you will see that the age will start worldwide around the 1990s. By 93, we were having our first digital banner campaign, and Google will come up in 1998. Then in the 2000s, you are having the birth of social media. I think if you come to here, down here, the things that have changed, one is the device. So we didn't have the device at that time. Even if you had to connect to internet, or I remember we use a phone, the landline to connect to a desktop.
Well, I would say it's technology. And two things about technology. First is access. So it's accessible to a lot of people because everyone has a screen in their palm. And beyond access is also the democratization that Beryl talked about, that now you don't have to go to acting school to build your own career in acting, right? Now you're a curator of your own story. Now everyone has a voice to talk about everything else, right? You don't need formal teachers to tell you about how principles, of anything else is again, because now people have a voice.
So I agree with everything that everyone said, but I think one major thing is the mindset shift. When we began in the market, championing this thing around digital, it really wasn't a conversation. People's mindset hasn't switched on to the possibilities and capabilities this space would allow. Fast forward, even 5 years ago, remember the first social media week, we had people raising their hands to say that they were specialists in particular platforms, and that at the time when we started didn't happen. I think there's also a thing about infrastructure enablement, access to the internet. That's one thing. We're very mobile first, so devices where people can access content via digital was also shifted the narrative here. And then also the consumers came now. Consumer content creators, which before didn't happen before. So it's enabled the whole ecosystem.
Telling our stories, I think that we need to be authentic. I don't know, I know that you've worked with several brands. In what ways have you inculcated authenticity, and what role does language, local language, especially in this market, what role does it play in the campaigns that you create for your brands?
Yes, so the film that we watched, we saw the Charlie and the child. We saw that, and you clearly see that it's a local language. It's something that is relevant to the target that we have. So I think that when you create something that is relevant to the people you are speaking to, they respond to it very well. So for example, if you go to Ashanti region, I've seen campaigns that are run here where when you went there, the copies that are here is different from that place. You will start by saying Osekrum, even on a billboard, and it works so well. So I think that in evolving, in changing, we should still not lose the relevance of the local language. So I'll give an example. In Nigeria, many years ago, Pepsi ran one of the biggest campaigns you have, Long Throat. So long throat, long throat.
Long throat.
But to long throat for something means you want more, And it was in response to what Coca-Cola has done. And it was one of the biggest campaigns you'd have. And it gave them a lot of the market share of their competition, And it's just a matter of just using something that was relevant to the people. It's not a local language, but it meant something locally and relevant to them. Yes.
I think, because we work primarily with young people, one of the big challenges we have is a brand wanting to sound very formal, because that was what was known for brands, right? So I would even digress and get into things like allowing things like Pigeon, and how far you could go with something like that. So I remember when we launched Vodafone X, Vodafone can't say certain things online, so we had to make a case for an account that could say what Vodafone couldn't say. And so Vodafone X will typically be your brand that is playing and having fun. And if typically someone came with a complaint on the network, the account says something like, Charlie, Vodafone, this one be your own, take them, it's like we were chilling, you are the one who does the serious stuff. I think that, as we've been having this conversation, the very big thing is just around the fact that you couldn't just bundle everybody up into one pool and say, I'm talking to everybody. You needed to know who you were talking to, and you needed to sound like them. A few times there's a trending video, maybe from Facebook, for example, and then in the office, everybody's maybe laughing at the video, and I'm saying, you see the very complicated campaigns we are doing, these are the people we are doing it for. You understand? So this is what they understand. So sometimes you're in, talking about very serious stuff or using language that is really nice. It's copy that sounds really good, but the person is, they have a very short time and they want to understand it and they want to be inspired by it or laugh about it and move on. So it's almost like now we have to become more like, what do they want? Who are they? Where are they? What do they like? You understand, more than what we want to give them. So I think that's for me is like the big thing. Yeah.
In my opinion, the best campaigns that have been run in this country have included local languages. That is it. And simply because of the environment that we're in. We're not in let's say, a European or American environment where, let's say, the primary languages are English, but when you want to speak and have relevance to the target who are here, then you need to translate to a language that they understand. And so the local languages are very, very key. Some of the campaigns that I can mention, so Coca-Cola, for example, when they did the name on bottle campaign, when they translated it to Ghana, you saw that anyone who had a bottle, you could get a bottle with a queer local names on them. And that's why the campaign did so well here. Tigo ran a campaign called Laimomo, and it's that phrase alone is something that people understood here, and it gave us insights into what people wanted to do for Valentine's, for example. So I think that we can't run away. We shouldn't run away from using local languages, because if we're wanting to speak to a Ghanaian or African consumer, that is what they will understand to engage with the brand.
Okay. I think my last question will be around like Andrew mentioned AI and all these evolving technologies that are coming. I want to personally ask you, for your agencies, are you scared? And
No.
You're not scared? No. Okay.
It's not about being scared, but I think also being real to what is coming, right? Okay. AI could take a lot of jobs.
Yeah.
So people are getting scared because with a click of a button, your entire media plan, and if you feed it with the right data, your insight is there, your strategy is there. Why do you need people to sit and think through something that has already produced that thought for you? It is happening. And brands are also looking into ways that they can tap into this area to create and curate their own stories, to make sure that they still can, they can sell to consumers and they still can build this brand love and all of that to consumers.
Prince, you want to add?
Yes, I don't think that we should be worried. What I think is that as new technologies are coming, I think it comes with a lot of opportunities. So, like he said, some people may lose their jobs, but I think that itself will create some opportunities someday, depending on how you also take advantage of what is going to happen. We didn't have internet, we didn't have mobile phones. People were doing a certain kind of jobs. Maybe people who are typing. I don't think they are completely out of it, but we should be fine.
I think the AI conversation. So some years back, art directors used to draw, sketch their designs. So I'm sure around that time when they said there's a new tool coming, maybe CorelDRAW then, or maybe Adobe Illustrator or something. They felt like their jobs would be taken. But then it gave opportunity to people who were not actual painters or artists to now learn to design. You get it? So these things will actually get more people into spaces, because the backbone of all of this is storytelling, how authentic your story is. So then it will give me, who is not a designer, or maybe let's say I'm not an illustrator, it will give me the opportunity to now be able to create artworks or create movies with just my storytelling. So that's what AI will do. So the designer doesn't lose the job because now AI can just create designs. He gets to do more. And even those of us who are outside design can now do design without necessarily learning how to do, to use Illustrator. So that's how I see it. I think it's an enhancer, so we look at it that way. Yeah.
Well, like my question to you guys, have you ever suggested to a brand that, hey, let's put this placement in a film to raise awareness? Because yeah, sometimes we don't have the numbers, but most of it is, it's like awareness, right? If someone sees a car in a film, they might want that car subconsciously, right? So you guys are way better at pitching to brands than a filmmaker. We're going to talk about our story all day. The brand won't understand it, but you guys know how to, so have you guys done that with brands before? And if not, what's the hesitancy?
Like in the DVD or whatever, they can give you data when it goes to television. And they can tell you that by exposing your brand in this film, you are likely to reach X million of people, right? So because of that, if you were to give me a sponsorship or to place your product in my film, you can actually get this, this result back. Unfortunately, I don't think that our filmmakers, they have a certain idea that brand being in a film or being in a series is something which is good for the brand, but they can't actually articulate the value of that exposure to brands who are willing to do that. Most brands find it very difficult to make decisions without data, without the right information. So I think you also need to work with companies and agencies who can actually rationalize the value of what you want out of sponsorship from brands, so that they can take it to the brands and actually let you know your exposure is going to give you X value back. I also, I believe that there's a lot of work to be done with the whole creative industry, not just filmmakers, musicians, and all of that when it comes to advertising. Now that we've talked a lot about democratization and liberation of creators of content, there's a lot of work to be done. And so we've had the initial meeting, the Advertising Association of Ghana. We've had an initial meeting with the National Film Authority to see how both agencies or associations can come together and figure out how we enhance the value of those creators in that space. It's a whole ecosystem, right? And you need to understand that ecosystem, from the brand to the consumer, to your own storytelling, what you want to tell, and see where at every consumer touch point you can actually play that role. So it's about also getting educated about that business and letting people, who have that expertise to help you to craft. That can even change the storyline, right? That can change how you shoot. That can change the format. That can change how you present your film at the end of the day. So you need experts. So please do hire agencies and pay them well, so they can help you to grow your business.